Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday night. Just got done with the Foundry not too long ago, and I'm here for my Damascus drop every night, 8 o'clock. I'm gonna pop on here, 8 o'clock Pacific time, 11 o'clock for you guys on the East Coast. I'm here to tell you about what I read this morning and what it meant for me. Now, if you want to hear it, you want to go, oh, okay, that's what Rev thinks. What an idiot. That's fine. But if you really want to listen, you can see why I do this. You'll learn how I do it and why I do it and why it's like pretty much changing my life. I've been reading the Bible for, you know, a really long time, and I think honestly, the last year and a half, man, whew, God's really been showing me a lot. So, anyways, here we go. This morning I was reading, and I was in Mark 1:40, and I go all the way to just 40 and 41. 40, 41, and 42. Anyways, that's where we are. A leper came to Jesus begging him, and kneeling, he said to him, if you choose, you can make me clean. Moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hand and he touched him and he said, I'm willing, be clean. And the leprosy left him that instant. Now, a lot of times when we look at the gospels particularly, we can tend to get this idea that what Jesus was doing is Jesus was doing magic tricks to tell everybody that he was God. And I kind of get that, but I don't think it's true at all. In fact, in John it says that if we wrote down all the shit that he did, there wouldn't be enough books, right? So Jesus is doing a lot of stuff. I believe that the things that are written in the Gospels are the things that teach us something more. So does that mean that Jesus did these miracles to show us who he was? Sure. But the important part, the reason those miracles were picked out is because they're teaching us something very important. Now, in this situation, what we might miss is the fact that this leper is unclean. The leper is unclean, which means that as he goes down the road, he has to say, unclean, unclean, because if you accidentally bumped into that guy, you weren't allowed to go to temple. You weren't allowed to go to synagogue. In fact, you had to be in isolation for 7 days, and then the priest checked you out. And if he wasn't sure, he'd put you in for another 7 days. And that's the thing. If someone was unclean and you touched them, you became unclean. And so this guy is not only suffering from a disease, but he's suffering from isolation. Nobody can be with him. Nobody can stay in his house. He's probably been cast out and on the street because of the purity laws. If you touch a leper, you're unclean, even if you don't get leprosy. So, what happens here is this guy, this broken, sick, ostracized, and lonely man, walks up to Jesus and he says, Jesus, if you're willing, I know that you can heal me. I know you can fix it. And Jesus says, or the gospel says that Jesus felt compassion for him. In this version, it says he felt pity for him. He saw in him someone who was suffering. And in his culture, what he was supposed to do is move away. What he's supposed to do is not to touch him. Now, if the stories about Jesus are true, he didn't have to touch the guy. He could have just said, okay, leper guy, why don't you be healed and come back later? Right? He could have said that. He healed a Roman army guy. He healed his servant like miles away. So why did Jesus touch him? Why did he touch him? I believe that what Jesus was teaching us is those people, those ones that you're kind of nervous around, those people that maybe haven't given you a reason to kind of trust you're not going to get sick or hurt or your reputation ruined. You see, as you reach out, you don't get dirty. As you reach out, they can become clean. Now, that doesn't mean you're supposed to be an idiot. But the fact is so often we pull away because we don't want to be affected by the dirt, by the poor social standing. I mean, every single teen movie, you see the exact same thing, right? That one kid sitting there all by themselves, everyone's making fun of them, and they used to be your friend. And what do? You ignore them because if you sit and have lunch with them, then you get their cooties. Well, in high school, it's not cooties, right? In high school, it's like if you sit with them, then you're a loser just like they are. You see, it's not supposed to be like that with us. We're not supposed to look at people like they can infect us. With us, we're supposed to reach out and believe that the good, the light, the spirit from our lives infects them. That's a different way of looking at life. So that's what I saw. What am I going to do about it? Well, I feel like what I'm supposed to do is I, I feel like I'm just supposed to go and sit with some of the dudes in the park. Um, a lot of guys in the park around here, they don't have a place to live. And so as I was reading that today, so okay, so you're supposed to treat the people that the world thinks are going to pollute you. You're supposed to go and pollute them with good, with light. And so I read that and I go, okay, so Rev, what are you going to do about that? And I feel like I just need to go and hang out with the guys in the park once in a while. A lot of homeless people say that the one thing that they hate the most about being homeless is the fact that people won't look them in the eye. They're just sitting with them, sharing a cup of coffee, sharing a beer. And then the next part is take what you learned, take what you're supposed to do, and write it in your journal as well as your scripture. The scripture in the gospel of you. Write it in there. Who knows? Maybe someday people will read it and be inspired by your story, right? So, what I wrote the way in which we reach out to others is directly influenced by whether we believe they will either affect us or whether we believe God can affect them through us. That's a simplified version of the Damascus Road. And I just challenge you to at least do the simple thing. Just read one verse and then ask yourself, all right, what did I see in that for me? What am I supposed to do because of it? And then write something down that you kind of think, well, this is what I got out of it. And if someone's going to read this later, I want them to know what I was thinking today. And maybe you can just make a little video and tell everybody online about it. Or maybe you can type it in a post. Or maybe you can just keep that shit to yourself. That's on you. But if you write it down, you're less likely to forget it. That's what I think, anyways. Hey, this is Rev, and may the love that fires the sun set fire to your heart so that you might be warmth and light to a cold, dark world. Rev loves you.